This one hurts my heart. What's going on, you guys? It's Chris with Coach Chris Sports. Today I got a special topic for you guys. I'm going to be talking about the running back position in the NFL and kind of why it's been undervalued money-wise, salary cap-wise, not necessarily on the field, why it's been undervalued. We'll talk about how they still do have their value within the league. First thing we need to get across when talking about this topic, and this is the case for a lot of positions in football and NFL, when you talk about having a team needs a great running game to be successful. That doesn't necessarily mean they have to have a great running back. Same as, you don't necessarily have to have a great quarterback to have great quarterback play. There's a lot of different factors that come into having a great running game that are away from just the talent of the running back and his ability. As we see with NFL time and time again, either lower drafted, guys that aren't as talented, guys that don't really have a trait that stands out, to be able to make, give real time, big time production, whether in a small sample size, and some guys are able to carry that momentum year in, year out for a long period of time. So, and at the running back position, when the GMs and these owners, when the teams see this, that teams are having success with fourth round, fifth round draft picks, signing minimum guys coming in, the star gets injured, the backup comes in and gives 70-80% of that production. Time and time again, we're seeing this. And really, when they see things like this, it's an investment. Are we going to get our return on investment? There's these other positions where you don't see it like this. When the left tackle goes down, you don't see a bunch of left tackles be able to come in and give that production. The center, the D tackle, the linebacker, there seems to be such a much steeper drop off at the other positions when you can compare it to the running back position. As talented as a lot of these guys are, it's still a very dependent position. Dependent on what I mean by that is it's depending on the offensive line that they have. No matter how talented you are as a runner, so much you can do if it's a linebacker coming right in your face, or there's the hole you're designed to see develop is just not materializing itself, and you're trying to make guys miss, but there's just nothing you can do. Then also just the game flow, depending on the way the game shakes out. Some guys can be taken out of the game that way. A team gets behind early and they may not want to run the football as much. They want to throw the ball and get down the field. So it's still a very dependent position. On top of some of the factors I've been mentioning, is what makes it tough pill to swallow sometimes for the owners that may be investing into them. They're not going to pay over $10 million for a running back when they can get someone and pay $2 million and get that production. And that's actually the case with most football players. I actually think that's one of the reasons why it's so much tougher to evaluate the NFL players compared to the NBA, is that most NFL players are dependent on a lot of different factors. The situation they're in, just how good their team is, and in this case, like I mentioned with the running backs, but the receivers as well, that's also a position that's very dependent. So that's not unique to the running back, but since it is, it's just another reason for them to try to hold back on the money. So the reasons as to why something like this happened, there's a lot. There's some deeper reasons you can get into. There's some on the surface ones. One of the deeper ones I like to think about, just someone that's played running back, is it's such a physical position that I know a lot of running backs feel like this, where certain parts of the season you may be stronger than you are in others. And so if you carry that even over a longer period of time, the backup that may be coming in, he may just be fresher and can hold that for a longer period of time. I think that's why you see a lot more split back, guys splitting carries in today's game, because they realize, just staying fresh, being able to run your best run every time you run is very valuable because of the position that it is. I mean, when you got the ball, you're running for your life, and it's not it's not always the easiest thing to do, play in, play out like that. Having the ball in your hands, running like Saquon. This isn't all about, the guys that come in and replace these backs, and they see that that's a big part of it. But the injuries, as that kind of goes hand in hand with what I was saying, the injuries for running backs, they add up. You see them take effect quickly, and when something goes, and you're not able to hit the hole quite like you used to, make a certain move. I've talked to some backs. Sometimes you just lose a certain cut, just the way you used to have it, or it couldn't plant just quite as hard as you're used to, and all that stuff can affect you. Just one step here, and you're really out of what you used to do in that position. You're that's your whole value, is being able to run through tackles, to make guys miss. Once you start losing some of that, it's the guy behind you has that ability. I mean, let's be real. We've all had, whoever the backup running back is, that guy has ability too. And if you lose something, that guy behind you is ready to step up and show what he got. I mean, that's just the game, and that's the position. I mean, every backfield is like that. So it's a very competitive position in that way too. One thing though I have to put in this conversation is talk about some of the holdouts that we've seen. With Ezekiel Elliott right now, Melvin Gordon for the Chargers, and Le'Veon Bell last year. This stuff has always made sense to me for the running backs when they're looking across the league and knowing everything I'm talking about, where if they do have an injury and don't come back quite the same, they're either going to get cut, or the guy behind them is going to be looking just as good. They're going to be trying to find every reason not to pay them coming up, and they're at their best, their first couple of years out of the league, or into the draft, I should say. And those aren't when you're getting paid the most. Saquon right now, Saquon is going to be the best back in the league the next 4 years. And is he going to be paid like that the past 2 years? No, he's not going to be. He might be able to get that this offseason if he does what these other backs have done. But if he didn't, he'd be making much less than his value on the field. And I think when you're looking at the grand scheme of professional sports, I mean, these guys should need to be getting paid. These stars, these guys are putting it all on the line with no guaranteed contracts right now. I hope that is something that the NFL can work out in some way in the next CBA. But right now, these guys don't have that. They need to be getting every penny that they can playing the game. As I've talked about before, it's a grind out there, and those guys deserve it. I definitely know why, as fans, you might be, upset about a guy that might be holding out, but you gotta understand this is a business. These guys are trying to get their value, and the way the teams will treat them, the teams will cut them as soon as the backup comes in and has a good season. They'll be ready to cut them and not give them their money. They're just saying, hey, if I'm out here, I got 2 straight Pro Bowls. Show me the money. Give me my respect. So that's all it is. I think we would all do the same in that position. People were honest with themselves. They're running backs. They find themselves in a situation, if you're a great running back, where you'd hold out for your money as well. Now, I don't necessarily think we would all hold out the whole season like Le'Veon Bell, but I think if we felt we weren't getting our proper due, financially, we'd try to hold out and say, hey, flex our leverage as much as possible to try to get the money that we deserve. The point of this video is really just to hope that I can kind of open some people's minds out there about why the position's been undervalued cap-wise, not necessarily on the field, but teams don't want to really pay big money to the running back position. I understand that. You can argue, the guys that just got paid, Bell and Gurley, those teams, looking like, man, do they really want to pay those guys in 3 years? And not that they're not great, but you've seen, even last year with the Rams, C.J. Anderson came right in and ran well. Guys have come in, Bell, Connor for the Steelers last year, guy came and ran really well. And now Anderson and Connor are not Bell and Gurley, not at all, not even close. But they were able to come in and give you 80% of the production. And for some teams, it's a cap game because there's a salary cap in the league. The way the game is set up and the cap is set up, it's really made the running back the odd man out. It's unfortunate. I think there's things that you'd almost have to treat the running back position separate than all the others to really even it out. But something needs to be done. Between the way the running backs are treated and on the contrast with the quarterbacks, where if you're any and every quarterback, you're able to demand this money. We got Prescott out here demanding all this money, and Cousins out here getting all this money. It's like, oh, okay, what are Mahomes and Brady and Rodgers and Breeze, these are the guys that those are the guys that need to be making the money. Why is Cousins and Flacco and these guys making all this money? So there's a lot of problems with the cap. This is not just NFL, NBA. There's things that people smarter than us try to figure this out, and it seems like, okay, guys, we just get in the room and work this out. Can we make sure Saquon Barkley is getting his money? Come on now. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and see that the running backs, they still have value, but as long as the cap is set up the way it is, I think teams are right and justified into not wanting to put money in the positions, but also the players, the running backs themselves, they're justified in holding out and trying to get their money while they have their value in their short period of time. So like, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Please leave feedback. We're making a little more videos like this over time. Again, I'm excited, Coach Chris, for us to get going. Start, doing my post-game reactions to the Chiefs and Richmond Spiders, Houston Rockets, and any other teams or big games that I might be watching. So